Can China avoid buying U.S. soybeans entirely? Well, there's a lot of moving pieces here that goes into answering that question. There could be a change in domestic consumption of soybeans in China. There could be a change in domestic production. There could be a change in how China's importing these soybeans, and they could also maybe dip into their ending stocks. And so, one of the things that we wanted to look at in this article, and there's a lot of factors covered, so make sure you read the full article. The link is in the description below. One thing that we looked at is a couple of scenarios here. In blue are China's current projection of ending stocks. And you can see the big takeaway here is they have more ending stocks today than they had during the previous trade war. So that stocks to use ratio before was hanging around 20%, maybe as high as 25%. Today we're sitting almost at 35%. The orange line is this scenario where China buys nothing at all from the US and they rely entirely on dipping into their stocks. That would take their ending stock to use ratio all the way down to about 12%, which is really low and probably an unlikely scenario. The green line here in the middle is a combination. It says, what if China buys nothing from the US and then they buy 20% more on a year over year basis from non US sources? What happens to ending stocks there? And it comes down a lot, maybe kind of a shocking amount, but it's still around that 25%, which is historically, especially before 2021, historically high levels. So this trade war, this silent trade embargo that we have between uh, China not buying U.S. ag commodities, their stock situation gives them a lot more flexibility this time around than they did last time. We'll see how this plays out. And again, these are just a few scenarios looking at the past year-over-year changes in China's non-U.S. soybean purchases, looking at their soybean consumption over time, and also the share of consumption that is related to import activity. Of course, read more down below. Until next time, stay curious.